YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are safe and healthy. For today's video, I wanted to show you guys a build that is very different in many ways, but is a lot of fun and unique in my opinion. Now, I should have showed this build prior to the latest patch or update because it was much stronger before both of the guns were nerfed a little bit, but it is still viable, although some may call it a troll build. We're going to start with the build breakdown on this video because I lost several clips from when I was using this build, so I only have a few, but let's go ahead and jump into it. Here's an overview of the build. We are running 2 pieces of Golan, 1 piece Grupo Sombre, 1 piece Sokolov, 1 piece Spellstone Armory, and then 1 piece Murakami. For the specialization, I've got the Gunner for the armor on kill, but you can also run the Firewall for the med kit. For the primary weapon, we are using the St. Elmo's engine, which is still one of the best ARs in the game. However, it did take a little bit of a hit after they made it possible for enemies to skate around while being shocked, instead of just being stuck in place. The talent on this gun is Actum Est, which reads, shooting an enemy with this weapon will give 1 stack. At 100 stacks, the next magazine will be 100% filled with shock ammo. For the secondary weapon, we are using the named MP5ST, the Cabaret, and I believe this gun also got nerfed, and or the talent did in the last patch, which I'm really not sure why. I didn't notice a lot of people using it and it being just outrageously good, but the talent on it is Perfect Thunderstrike, and this talent reads amplifies weapon damage by 25% to shocked enemies. After 3 kills, apply shock to the next enemy you hit. For the sidearm, I went with the Orbit pistol. This is good for finishing off the downed enemies and getting an extra critical hit damage and critical hit chance buff. For the mask, I went with the Golan mask, which is going to give us 10% status effects. And I've got armor, critical hit damage, armor regen, and a critical hit damage mod on this. Now, you can also run the Catharsis if you want a little bit more survivability. It's a great option as well. For the chest piece, I went with the Grupo Sombre chest piece. This gives us 15% critical hit damage. Then I've got weapon damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and a critical hit damage mod. And the talent is Unbreakable. I went with this for the extra survivability. The talent reads, when your armor is depleted, repair 95% of your armor, and the cooldown on this is 60 seconds. Another option you may choose to run for extra damage would be Obliterate. I would use that if I chose to go with the Catharsis mask. For the holster, I went with the second piece of Golan. This is going to give us 1.5% armor regen. And then I've got armor regen, and critical hit damage rolled onto this. Moving on to the knee pads, we went with the named Murakami knee pads, the Emperor's Guard. This gives us 20% skill duration. And then we've got armor. It comes with armor regen. And then I've got critical hit chance rolled onto these. For the gloves, we went with the named Sokolov gloves, the Firm Handshakes. This is going to give us 10% SMG damage. Then we've got armor. It comes with status effects, 15%. And then I've got 6% critical hit chance rolled onto these. And last but not least, for the backpack, we went with the Spellstone Armory. This gives us 1% armor regen. We've got armor, critical hit damage, and armor regen. Now, I forgot to attach my mod before I snapped this photo, but a critical hit damage mod is what you'll want to have. The talent on the backpack is Versatile, which I think is kind of a forgotten about talent that is certainly a hidden gem. It reads, amplifies total weapon damage for 10 seconds when swapping between your primary and secondary weapons if they are different. 35% to enemies within 15 meters for shotguns and SMGs, 35% to enemies further than 25 meters for rifles and marksman rifles, 10% to enemies between 15 to 25 meters for LMGs and assault rifles, at most once per 5 seconds per weapon type. Here's a look at the offensive stats. We are at 57.5 critical hit chance and 164 critical hit damage. Now, what you don't see on the stat sheet is all of the amplified damage that you are getting from like Versatile and the Perfect Thunderstrike talent. And so that is why we are calling this Thor's Hammer build, because once you switch to the Cabaret after shocking the enemy, you are just going to pound them. And yeah, it's just insane amount of damage, guys. Here's a look at the defensive stats, a lot of armor regen, and then of course we've got, we're pretty tanky with the armor. I did not take a picture of the skills because you can use really anything. The decoy is great for, you know, getting out of a bad pickle. Defender drone's great. You can also use the shock trap in this setup and shock the enemy and use the cabaret on them. Now let's take a look at the gameplay on this build, guys. Like I said, I don't have a lot of clips because they got deleted due to the Xbox storage. But in these first 2 clips, I wanted to show you kind of the survivability and how versatile just works even without shocking the enemy. So as you've seen there, switching, I got the versatile buff and melted that guy through his defender drone, and then even was able to clutch and survive this 1v2 situation. So that was in conflict. This is actually in the dark zone, and I got him shocked and kind of tatted him up a little bit, but was not able to get as much damage as I wanted to. But you'll still see the versatile kick in, and I'm able to win this 1v. Now this next clip here is exactly how this build is supposed to operate. You'll see me come around the corner and shock this guy, switch over, get the versatile talent, and just take him out.
Detonated gear detected.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, be sure to leave me a thumbs up, as it really helps the channel grow. And if you're interested for more content like this in the future, be sure to subscribe. Remember, life's a gift, but it's not always wrapped in a bow, so always stay dedicated and keep grinding. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next video.